Good evening and salutations, my JH fans. So, let's start off with Brit. So, Brit runs into Rocco and Charlotte, and Charlotte's pretty nice and pleasant. And, it's a little kind of awkward because Rocco was like, he started doing this whole flip flopping back and forth thing where it's like, 1 minute he wanted to know what it was like to sit there and get to meet her. And then when he finds out that she's alive, he's like, oh, I don't know, because like now it's real or whatever. And I'm just like, okay, whatever. So he meets her, and Charlotte waits outside for Lulu. They have a quick conversation. It's mostly pleasant and stuff. It's still a bit awkward because I don't think, what I'm saying? Like, he wasn't prepared to have this conversation with her in person. But they talk for a little bit. Rocco leaves. Um, Before that happens, Lulu Lulu comes and sees Charlotte, and Charlotte's like, "Hey, listen, I just want to sit there and tell you something before you start to freak out." And she tells him the situation. Lulu thanks her for knowing that if she just walked into it, she might have blew up. Okay, so in the beginning, I mean, granted, I'm glad that she did that. But at first, I was gonna be like, "Oh, here we go, typical Lulu, just whatever, right?" And Rocco gets out there, and Rocco's like, "Yeah, I'll talk to her for a little bit. I just want to go home right now." Brit gets to the house. Brit gets to her place and sees a box with a bow on it. But when she opens it up, she's like shocked or whatever. She gets knocked on the door. It's Lulu. Lulu comes in, and Lulu's like, "Hey, listen, I want to make peace for Rocco's sake. For Rocco's sake. He clearly wants to get to know you." And, I may have my misgivings, but at the end of the day, this is what Rocco needs. So, I'm going to do my best to sit there and try to just go with the flow of the situation. Right? And she's like, okay, cool. Then she's like, hey, listen, I have certain provisions. So this way, Rocco doesn't get hurt. And, like she's taking a chance. Okay. She's being the bigger person. She's doing it for her son. I'm like, okay, cool. That's, big ups to you. Brit Brit is like, I don't need no provisions to sit there and see my son. The minute she said that, I was like, I was like, God damn. Just when I sat there and was like, trying to give you the benefit of the doubt, the whole time with Liesel, I kept getting on Lulu's ass because I was like, hey, listen, just kind of chill out a little bit. Until Liesel started to kind of show some of her true colors, and I was like, all right, Liesel. Lulu was kind of annoying me, but maybe she was on to something, right? And even when she found out that Britt was alive, and she was all like, "Oh, I had to compete with Charlotte for attention, with Valentina." I was like, "Yo, listen, this is not a competition. You need to chill out." And I've been tough on Lulu for a hot minute. The minute that she did that, I was like, "Well, I guess Lulu had a point." I was like, "Well, I guess Lulu had a point." They get back and they go back and forth, and she is just like, there's no accountability when she gets upset. She's like, well, the egg was just sitting there, and he's alive because of me. And then she's all like, I'm more of a mother than you are because she was inside, he was inside my belly, and I took care of him, and this, that, and the third, and I had experiences in it, and just really throwing it in her face. And I was just like, wow, it's really good to have you back, Brett. Hell, don't get me wrong. Lulu could still be a pain in the ass, but with you, she kind of has a reason. She kind of has a reason, alright? She kind of has a reason. Like, and there's no kind of. She just has a reason at this point. So she's just like, listen, you didn't change. You may have certain, moments or whatever, like saving Lulu's life. Saving Jocelyn's life and everything like that twice. But like, you're still the same mean, shrewd, self-centered, da 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 da. stay away from my son, stay away from Rocco. And of course, Brit is like, his name is Ben, and slams the door. And I was like, okay, Ben is a better name than Rocco, but I mean, you still being a nasty sure about it. Like, and I want to sit there and call her the other word, but I'm trying to restrict that word as much as possible because I don't even like using that word. Even though that's how she was acting, literally. And of course, she goes back and she looks at the box, and of course, it's her medicine, and saying, make sure you take your medicine, and it has the initial C on it, right? Who is this C person? I mean, what's his name? I actually liked him too in the beginning. What was his name? Hold on. Peter August. I don't know why I couldn't remember his name, but obviously, the initial C. So it can't be Peter. I mean, it could be. I don't know. It could be anyone. But, alright. So, Liz, Lucas, Anna, Dante, all wondering if it's Nathan. They want to sit there and kind of keep this quiet. They don't want Brit to know. They don't want Lisa to know. And towards the end of the episode, when they do his fingerprints, it is Nathan. I'm just like, so we're gonna like try to dig up the body and see who's in that coffin if it's not Nathan. Like part of me was like, I'm surprised they didn't actually do that first. I mean, yeah, they had to sit there and do the fingerprints and everything like that, but the fingerprints showed that it's him. But I don't know how twins work though. I remember on Days of Our Lives when you had Charlie and you had Trip and the whole Allie situation and DNA and them sitting there thinking that it was Trip that wound up R-wording Allie and it was one of Charlie, but because they were fraternal twins, they share like the same DNA or it was very similar. Like it was hard to detect unless you knew what you were looking for. I don't know if that's the same thing with fingerprints, but anyway, I'm just like, yo, listen, check that damn coffin. See who's inside. Um, Molly meets up with Alexis and tells Alexis that Christina it tells about the whole Christina plan with Cody seducing Ava, and then just basically says that she's having feelings for Cody, but she's not sure because she's like 1 minute he's very nice and funny and charming and sweet, the next minute he is a complete and utter screw up, and I'm just kind of like that sounds like a human being more or less. I don't know, but Alexis pretty much is just like listen, don't overthink it. Just do coffee or something like that. You clearly seem like you like him. Just keep it simple and slow. No one's asking you two to get married, but just keep it casual and see what happens. But the thing is with Molly, I mean, I know the saying like opposites attract, but like Molly is very like she likes control, and Cody clearly seems like the type of person that could be very spontaneous. With TJ, he was more or less like her. He liked everything to be precise and whatever and organized. And Cody is more or less kind of a mess. You know? So I don't know. Also, last time I checked, Molly's a vegan. Cody isn't. And I'm not just saying that you can't sit there and date a vegan, unless they retcon that. Unless they actually retcon that shit. Listen, you let me know in the comment section, would you sit there and date a vegan? I mean, part of me is like, Well, I mean, she's hot, but at the same time, I'm not having nobody clock what I eat. It's just no. Just no. Um, Now Michael comes over Sonny and Carly's place, well, particularly Sonny's place, and tells them both that his grandmother died. And I was kind of just like, why did he not just sit there and say Monica passed away? Like Monica died. This isn't just saying his grandmother died. I don't understand why he specifically chose to use those words. Anyway, more or less, they just, they listen to him vent. Towards the end, Michael was like, "Hey, listen, she never would sit there and invite you out to a Christmas party, but she kind of learned to accept them, you know." And Carly and Sonny said that they respected her, and part of me is like, I don't know how to feel about that because they was they're talking about, well, Michael and Monica was they're talking about their custody battle with him because Michael's going through the custody battle with Willow. And of course, Carly was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure she didn't have a lot of nice things to sit there and say. So part of me, when they sit there and say, yeah, we respected her, listen, I get it. It took a while for them to get in a good place, and I'm pretty sure that they did want to respecting her then. But part of me just feels like it just, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I feel like it just kind of rubs me the wrong way. When they sit there and say, did they respect her? It was like, did y'all? Did y'all two really respected her? I don't know. It just makes me feel some sort of way when they say, because on one hand, yes, bygones be bygones. You can move past that. You can come to a level of mutual respect, and I get that, especially for the family's sake. But the other part of me just feels a little kind of off, like, especially with the whole custody battle. Even Tracy talks about the pain that Sonny and Carly has caused the family. So it's a little kind of off me for them to sit there and say they respected her. It's like, what's your definition? Um, Lucy, Lucy was on one, right? And Tracy, she doesn't want to answer the door. She sees her. She closes the door in her face, and Lucy is at an 11, right? And here's the thing about Lucy. Lucy is annoying, can be annoying to Tracy on a good day. On a good day. So you can only imagine what she was feeling like, in today's episode. She was like, yo, not today. But she starts banging on the door, banging on the door, banging on the door. So eventually she lets her in. And granted, yes, she does sit there and say, the company is in trouble, which it is, right? But she just goes on and on and on and on and on until Tracy is like, Monica passed away. And that finally gets her to shut up and just kind of calm down. Then they trade stories, and of course, one of the stories is about, um, the time that Lucy married Alan and talked about their great love and everything. Well, Monica and Alan really loved each other, so it was like Lucy was just more of an afterthought, really. Anyway, they trade stories for a little bit, and they toast Monica. She leaves, and you just see Tracy just crying on the stairs, which is just a heartbreaking scene. Um, what else? Oh, okay. So yeah, I don't know if I said this in my last review, but you got Emma and Gio kissing, and then Brooklyn walks in, and they talk a little bit. She kind of apologized for interrupting and everything like that. At some point, Cody comes in, and Brooklyn winds up telling all three of them that Monica passed away, and they all expresses their sorrow and their condolences and everything, and they talk about Outback, and Before Gio decides to take Outback to go see Rocco, Cody says goodbye to him. I mean, goodbye to her. And now the dog was a her, but says goodbye to her. And then Brooklyn was like, "How about if we just make, um, the Quartermains Outback's permanent home?" And I'm just like, wait, what? And everyone's just sitting there looking like, how is that gonna work? Like, Cody's like, I don't think that Rocco's actually gonna be cool with that. But then she explains how Rocco's mostly gonna be spending his time at the queues and everything like that. And just long story short, Rocco did approve of Outback being, staying at the queues with everyone. And of course, when Rocco is with Lulu, the dog will go back to Lulu, and they'll just kind of just go back and forth. I imagine. I have no idea. I honestly tell you the truth, it doesn't even really seem like it makes a lot of sense. Maybe I'm gonna have to go back and kind of understand it because I'm just like the way I'm looking at it is that they want to sit there and show more screen time towards the dog, but I feel like they're gonna probably use more of the Quartermain set than they are Lulu's house. And since they want the dog to have more screen time, it just makes sense for the dog to be there than Lulu's place. Even though the dog is technically Rocco's and Rocco lives with Lulu, for some odd reason, this just makes sense to the show. Doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if it makes sense to y'all. Maybe y'all can sit there and help me explain it, but it made sense to the show, so this is what they're doing. But with that being said, since Emma's going to be there more and Gio's going to be there more, Cody's like Brooklyn would have more time to sit there and mend fences with Gio, which honestly, tell you the truth, at this point, like this just needs to happen. Even Gio said to Brooklyn, send Tracy my condolences. So like, I feel like this is going to be like the icebreaker in the sense that Monica's gone. And a lot of times when someone passes away, you sit there and you start to look at and evaluate your life, and you realize you don't have as much time as you would like to think, and you start doing things a little bit differently. And I think that's going to wind up hitting Gia when it comes towards Brooklyn. I don't know why I was not thinking Lulu for a hot minute. Anyway, I feel like that's about it. I'm not sure if I'm actually going to do a live stream tonight. I still do have two more soap operas to do and a live stream to do. And a review to do. And I am also feeling kind of tired. But it's at the same time, it's kind of weird to like not do a stream. I know I'm not going to be able to do one tomorrow because I get out late and I have to wake up early. So I don't know about tonight. I'll post in the community tab. Originally, I was planning on taking tonight and tomorrow off, and then just streaming throughout the rest of the week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and da 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 da. I did get to work a little bit later than I would have liked, so it's kind of up in the air. Anyway, with that being said, I'm gonna go. I'll see you in the next video, and yeah, let me know what your thoughts.